Welcome to your latest Grand Strategy game news. I have a lot of great updates and new Grand Strategy games for you to learn about, so let's not spend time on an intro and start with Crusader Kings III. This Grand Strategy game is often referred to as the best one to get started in the genre, and while it is as complex as many others, I do agree with that advice for a number of reasons. First of all, Crusader Kings III is very much supported by its developers and publisher with not just updates, but also new content in the form of DLCs. The latest of which will be released on September 30th. It's titled By God Alone, and it will bring religious debates, ability to rule as an archbishop or even the Pope himself, ecumenical councils, college of cardinals, and even heresies as well as crusades, and a lot more interesting gameplay options connected to the church and faith. The other reasons why this is a good entry point into the genre is a well-made tutorial campaign, a more approachable interface, and the focus on RPG aspects rather than min-maxing everything. If you agree, let me know with a comment, and also if you disagree, let me know why. Because this genre of strategy games is often called paradox games, as that is the publisher with the highest number of such games, some developed in-house, others by different dev teams, my next news is about the flagship game of that genre, meaning Stellaris. A game that is older than some of our kids, but yet it keeps getting new DLCs, new free content, and even new ways to conquer the galaxy. So it is with its 10th season, which is a DLC pack of its own, but the actual latest DLC, which Season 10 does include, is titled Stellaris Nomads. With this one, players of Stellaris get to experience something players of Sins of a Solar Empire 2 already could with the Vesari Exodus faction, which is being a starfaring civilization with no homeworld, only a massive home fleet. In Stellaris, this is done using the massive self-sustaining fully upgradable habitat ships called archships, and they even come in 3 variants: military, scientific and civilian class. Of course, we also get new origins, ambitions, megastructure, and the Veil Line network among other content to complete this nomadic lifestyle transition. If you want to check out a totally new Grand Strategy game, I would suggest Imperial Ambitions, as its release date is the 13th of July. I told you about this one in one of my previous videos, which described upcoming and new games, and I described its distinctive retro and colorful visual style. Besides a complex simulation, with over 40 separate resources and goods shaping trade, politics and the growth of your empire, this indie dev wants to give you continuous movement between tiles and the black market. That feature adds another layer of intrigue, letting you undermine rivals or prop up your economy outside official channels. The setting of Imperial Ambitions is the age of imperialism, as the title hints at, so it means you deal with European superpowers of the time. There is a demo available on its Steam store page, so you can try it out before it's released, but I can't guarantee the demo will stay up post-release. If the game is out by the time you're watching this, please share your impressions. A game set several centuries later, but which is heavily influenced by everything that happened during the Age of Imperialism, is Victoria 3. Ever since its release, technical issues and bugs have mired gameplay overflowing with politics, diplomacy, trade and state management set in the 19th century. On the plus side, the game was updated many times, developers keep hunting for problems and bugs from reports made by players, and they published the Great Wave expansion. Unfortunately, this content wasn't free of bugs and issues, and history repeated itself. Once they actually fix these problems, you will be able to enjoy using gunboat diplomacy options and the ship designer to make and construct a fleet your nation needs, alongside customizable flagships. Japan during the latest days of the shogunate is one of the most interesting parts of this expansion, and it's a shame problems keep players from enjoying it. And mentioning Japan, I should probably tell you a bit about a totally new upcoming Grand Strategy game titled Divided Empire SENGOK. It is a project by a solo indie dev, and as he himself puts it, it's taking him longer than planned to publish it, but he is planning on a demo in October of this year. His dev diary about castles is an interesting read, and the game itself isn't exactly just an indie Shogun Total War with real-time battles, as the dynamic campaigns should make each playthrough different, with changing conditions and shifting threats. I hope you are interested enough to wishlist and follow the game on Steam while waiting for the demo. And as for Total War, there are several things to talk about, so let's start with the most recent DLC for Total War Warhammer 3. It introduced the White Tiger as a new playable legendary lord alongside a deadly company of mercenary Tiger Warrior units for the army of Grand Cathay. This game already has a massive number of DLCs, so why would you want to add this character pack to your library? My guess is that it is a shortcut to get the core Grand Cathay roster even if you don't own any other associated Grand Cathay content. Also, the White Tiger can call upon the Claw Speaker hero, and it has its own Tiger Court campaign feature alongside with relics to capture and oaths to enact, customizing your playthrough. Overall, future updates will bring changes to the campaign and how the AI plays it against you. Even further into the future, the siege mechanics and weapons will be changed and improved. And of course, Lords of the End Times are also coming eventually. Total War Medieval 3 is in such early development that most of its gameplay footage is mock-ups, but at least developers are talking and writing about its gameplay and features in detail and speaking to the community about them. Players even got a chance to vote on which factions we want to see at launch. Devs created a short list for the main factions, which are Kingdoms of England, France and Jerusalem, Sultanate of Ram, and both the Byzantine and Holy Roman Empires, while we can choose factions for the additional starting slots from another short list of 23 factions. So make sure to go onto their website, linked in the description, and vote for your favorites. Probably equally highly anticipated Total War title is Warhammer 40k. We got more glimpses of its gameplay during the recent developer interview and during some of the dev live streams. We got to see planets on the campaign side, several biomes as battle maps, and even a few clips of actual full-on battle between the Imperial Guard and Orcs. The other two so far confirmed playable factions are Space Marines and the Eldar. There is even an invitation for us to apply for the upcoming closed beta, so I hope you will take the chance and who knows, you might get selected. This game is so popular even in this alpha state that it has exploded past 1 million wishlist editions on Steam, so I probably don't even have to tell you to do so. Another completely new grand strategy game you have to look forward to in 2026 is titled Espiocracy. It's designed to let you choose one of the 74 playable countries and then try to rewrite history using tools of espionage, intrigue and sabotage. We will get to both stage coups and wage proxy wars in this one all throughout the Cold War. Other tools will include agents, propaganda and even assassinations. You can fully expect to get into a space race or a nuclear race with both your allies and opponents, while deploying foreign and domestic agents to manipulate public opinion of your own and other countries. Operatives of all kinds and covert operations, as well as counterintelligence, are some of the mentioned game mechanics in the developers' blogs, and its developer confirmed there are no victory conditions, but a huge sandbox to play with. So, if you remember, from the start of the video I said Crusader Kings III is a good entry point for new grand strategy gamers. Well, if that is the entry point, then Europa Universalis 5 is your last station and where you get off. Because not only did its developers manage to alienate most of their fanbase with horrible bugs and needless complexity with little automation, but they also launched it by first sneaking it past quality assurance offices in their building. Of course, the result was a horrible review score on Steam, but after many patches and a gazillion bug fixes, are things any better? It probably depends who you ask and do they use mods or not. But it would be unkind to the developers to say that nothing got better. However, multiplayer will still desync for you, and for some reason someone made a critical design error and tried to balance the sandbox experience to work for PvP. The important thing is that the bones of the game are alright, but it might take a decade to get enough layers over it to be a worthy successor to the franchise which started it all. There is another space grand strategy game we have been waiting for a long time, but to be fully released at all. Its title is Alliance of the Sacred Sons, and while some might think it will never be finished, the dev has already committed himself twice over. First time with a publisher which gave him a lot of money, and even after burning through it he didn't finish the game. The second time when he posted his own dev blog that he will finish it and that he's all in on it. That was back almost a year ago, and since then, radio silence. So is this one of those fool me once it's on you, fool me twice it's on me things? Or is there any chance this game gets finished? I honestly don't know and don't want to get your hopes up, but at least these gameplay shots looked very real, and there is even an hour-long version of the tutorial the dev played and posted on his YouTube channel. Maybe it can serve as inspiration to some future game dev, who knows? Let's play a game in the comments section and give odds at which we think this game gets finished by 2030. My odds are 15 to 1. Yours? And so while some games take 10 years to make, other games are supported, updated and extra content made for them for 10 years. No, I'm not repeating myself and talking about Stellaris, but another Paradox flagship title. This one being set in World War II, and you all know it as Hearts of Iron IV. Not only have the devs published a lot of DLCs for it, but they kept making changes and allowing players to give feedback in sort of beta game versions. The last DLC covered the topic of Japan, China and the Philippines and was titled No Compromise, No Surrender, but it's enough to see its review rating to figure out what the community thought of that one. To see such a huge difference between the score of the base game and its DLCs speaks volumes of the company's attitude towards milking its own franchise. No wonder we haven't seen a glimpse of Hearts of Iron V for all these years. My favorite remains the second one, and do tell me yours in the comments. The next completely new grand strategy game, which I hope you will enjoy as it tackles a rarely done setting, is Fields of History: The Great War. So from the title you can guess it has to do with the First World War. Its list of features feels like reading a super tasty candy bar's ingredients list. A 3D realistic world map featuring more than 10,000 provinces. And on top of that, those have accurately represented geographical, topographical and meteorological conditions of the early 20th century. Game will offer over 250 technologies to research and more than 300 military units and equipment types. Aside from strategic supply lines, chemical warfare and prisoners of war, you will be set up with a deep political system and feel the pains of failed or successful espionages and covert operations. And no, I haven't read even half of those planned features, so I suggest you jump over to the game store page, keep on reading and hit both the wishlist and follow buttons. The link is in the description. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the franchise of Total War-like games titled Kingdom Wars, but this next grand strategy game with real-time combat is a sort of offshoot from that franchise. It's titled The Small Kingdoms and comes from a small indie dev studio whose members pulled their anchors from a bigger studio and went their own way. The current release date says 2026, but with huge maps, big armies, real-time combat and cities filled with buildings to construct and resources to gather, I'm not sure will they pull it off by then. There is no demo yet, but developers do respond to questions on their game's Steam discussion boards. I wish them much luck and hope you will wishlist their game. Since I already mentioned Kingdom Wars, I might as well talk about that studio's latest game, but before that, I hope you have been enjoying this first grand strategy game news video on my channel, and will subscribe to see more such videos in the future. I am also open to video topic suggestions or game suggestions to showcase in the next such video. Leave both in the comments below. City States Medieval was released into early access in April of this year, and since then devs have been attentive with patches and updates trying to fully expand their vision for the final game. In this one they decided to try focusing on city-states rather than continent-spanning empires as in their main franchise. So now you get a hero to grow with your city, trade routes to master and protect, along with your capital. Let me know have you tried it, and check out my other videos for more news on your favorite strategy games. Thank you for watching and happy gaming!